Ye- Okay. Perfect. Here we go. Whew. I think I'm on. Hello. Hello, 5 people out there. This is demystifying gay people. This is just sorry, I could hear that in the background. Um, sorry. This is demystifying gay porn. This is the Q&A for season 4 finale. My name is Ike Grande, and as I always say, if you watch gay porn, I've definitely helped you get off. So, thank you guys for joining. I know this was very, very last minute, but I feel like this is a good way to wrap up what was nearly 3 years of season 4 of the podcast. So I wanted to, as a thank you, I wanted to jump on and give you guys the opportunity to just, ask some questions or say what you feel, as long as it's not too crazy hurtful. But yeah, I appreciate it. All right. So how you doing, Phil? How you doing, Rob? Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, for those of you who are joining, I know this was last minute. I have another one coming up at 5, but I figured um, give a nice couple of sessions today to answer some questions and to um, kind of open the floor for everybody that has joined. We're nearly 50,000 subscribers, which is amazing. I absolutely appreciate it, especially because the content that is a part of DGP is, it's a little much, but um, like I said, I appreciate it. Um, Phil, thank you so much for that question. So Phil asks, what was your motivation for doing this channel? So my motivation for this channel in particular is first, it started out as being a platform for porn stars and adult entertainers and producers and directors to kind of talk about what they do. I've been doing this for a good amount of time, and I've met a lot of people who I find incredibly interesting. And the only side that a lot of people really see is their backside, or sometimes just something that you watch to get off. And I feel like it's a shame because there's so much to a lot of these people, and I kind of wanted to give them a platform. So I started out like that, but then as time went by, I started to develop an interest in the history of gay porn and gay erotica. Not that I started to develop it, I started to develop the interest of trying to platform that. And after reading a couple books and having enough ammunition to go at it a specific way, I kind of just started putting together an outline, and then the outline became everything that was season 4, and then some. So yeah, so that was my motivation. Also, personal motivation is personal motivation for me is that I need something to counterbalance what I do for work, which is watch a lot of sexy people have sex. But I think there's multi layers of or multi facets of people, and one of the things I love doing is documentaries and um, talking, not too much, but talking, um, and kind of just sharing. So that was a big personal motivation. Rob, what's been the most surprising moment or lesson for you while making this latest season? Surprising moment, I think, is how many people have responded to it. To be honest, and how much people enjoy the channel. I think that was very, very, very moving. I got a lot of really, really cool emails because of it, and I appreciate it. And 50, almost 50,000 subscribers in. You guys are great. There's some mean comments, and with the good comments, you have to take the awful ones, but not as many as you would think. And knock on wood, I'm not asking for them, but I don't think that this is one of those channels where I don't know. Unless you're a troll, I don't really think that um, there should be any hate, anywhere. But I'm very, very grateful for the fact that a lot of people have. Um, have really enjoyed the channel. So I appreciate all of you guys. So Phil, has anything in particular surprised you about doing your videos or interviews? I think the biggest surprise, and I know it's not going to be, unless I can think of another one, I know it's not going to be a very salacious one, or but the biggest surprise is how YouTube feels about the videos. As I was saying before, I did an exclusive Q&A with the Patreons or the patrons that support the channel, and I'm shocked at how showing or having a channel that deals with people who are adult entertainers can trigger YouTube to think that it's a channel that's made for sexual gratification, when in reality, yes, we talk about stuff that's sex related, but in a very tasteful way, in my opinion, and honest way. Because just like I think that people, if you go back and watch a lot of 70s films, erotic films and porn films and stuff, it's time capsuled. It's a time capsule of how people lived, and it's the most honest depiction of how gay people um, acted and were, as opposed to what we constantly saw in films and mainstream films, or read about in books and stuff. So I think having YouTube have a very negative reaction in the beginning was a little upsetting, because of the fact that I don't think I was doing anything that was not. It's not exploiting. I'm not trying to exploit. I'm trying to just kind of help, and also show people um, where we all came from, like where this industry started. So yeah. Chill guy, thanks for the excellent work you have been doing. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Um, Again, like you guys watching it, that's very, very important. And I appreciate it. So, and it's just going to keep going. So, part of doing this is also letting people know that season 5 is coming out relatively soon. And by that, I mean I'm going to spend November and December working on season 5, which is going to deal with the 80s. And a lot of the mistakes and a lot of the lessons that I learned in season 4, I'm applying to season 5 to make it a much more smooth ride. And there's a couple of episodes already recorded, and or podcasts already recorded, and I'm looking forward to sharing them. Yeah. So there's 6 people in the room, and that's, like I said, partially my fault, because I did not promote this as well as I should have. But I do have a lot of comments or comments or questions that are in a lot of the um, in my queue. So I'm going to go ahead and just answer a couple of them. But I am here for you guys who are on. Thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, while I'm waiting for other questions, I will read off a couple of these. Excuse me. All right. So let's see. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed Drew's interview. Thank you very much, JT4928. Um, Clay Campbell asks if I've ever interviewed Drew Andrews. I have not. Um, I'd have to look him up. Lamertonia says, every time I come back to hear and listen to this interview, I feel you, Apollo. Thank you for your story. You inspire me to be a better theologian and human. That's very nice. Me encanta tu canal. Saludos de Mexico. That's very, very nice. Thank you very much. And hello from the States. So M. Tamery, when will new episodes be uploaded to YouTube? So I'm going to slowly start putting stuff up in December. And the only reason why I'll probably do another Q&A in between, but I am focusing right now on artwork and just setting up how everything's going to be for season 5. The episodes or the videos that will go up in December are going to be mostly quickies, which, if you've been watching a lot of the channel, quickies are a good way to a good way to portray people who were in the industry, and there's not a lot of information about them out online. So, any little tidbit of history or any little tidbit of interviews and stuff that I can put into this 1 minute clip is what comprises or what makes up quickies. And then fluffers is like 3 to 5 minutes, and that's a little more information, but I'm just trying to touch upon a lot of the people that had an impact in the industry. And I felt like that was the best way to do it without or being as concise as I can be with the information that's out there. So those are going to be ones that are going to start popping up in December, and then come January, I'm just going to start pumping out the episodes for season 5. Okay, so Rob, what's something you haven't done yet that you want to explore in future seasons? Um, I I I do have season 6 and season 7 planned out already. One of them is going to involve a road trip, and the other one's going to be um, that would be the 1990s, 2000s, and that's it. I'm going to stop at the 2000s because I feel like 2010s and stuff. There's still stuff, it's still happening. History's still happening, but that doesn't mean that I think I'll stop. I'll take a break from that and then do other stuff. I'm going to do a couple of like little series, like almost mini series for the channel on photographers, on illustrators, on underground filmmakers. A lot of these people who had a very big impact on the industry and helped shape the rights that we have in order to present all of this content. So that's what I'm gonna focus on later. That's what I'd like to do. And then also talk to a lot of, and I've been in contact with a couple models who are no longer in the industry, and kind of like get an idea of what their life is like outside of porn. Let's see. Thank you very much, chill guy. Let's see. Gamer BB, do you think you'll cover stars and events of the 1990s? Absolutely. As I just said, I don't know if you were on, but I am going to cover the 90s in season 6. And if all goes to plan, which I am very, very much trying, season 6 will be immediately after season 5. Um, and part of that is, like I said before, setting everything up, already thinking about, okay, well, this model, this director, and putting everything in folders and pumping it out there as much as I can, but also, doing as much due diligence as possible when it comes to getting all the information about these stars and models. And if you have any recommendations, please, by all means. Raymond, you got this. Oh, thank you so much, Pub Carvin. I appreciate it. M. Tamery, are there new podcast episodes coming? Yes. There's 2 in the can right now. And I have 4 or 5 of them already lined up for the next location shoot that I have with some models. And so basically, season 5 is going to be 12 podcast episodes and 12 history episodes, and then the rest are going to be um, fetishes and kinks. That open line series that I started way back when, it's going to come back, and everything, everything is going to be in the can, and I'm going to let her rip in January. Gamer, am I saying that right? Gamer Ab. Where can we submit requests for star interviews from the past if you get in contact with them? So go on demystifyinggayporn.com. I actually, that's something that I'm going to really quickly promote because I had somebody work on the website. You can submit questions. You can submit comments and stuff. You can always do it here on YouTube, but sometimes I don't see them all the time. I go into community and I go back and I flip through them and I do make notes. But if you send them right to my email, which in the submit a question section of demystifyinggayporn.com, you'll be able to do that, and I see it almost immediately. So I would say do that, or you can just say it right here too. All right. So while I wait for another question, let me go ahead and scroll through the other ones. Let's see. So Kevin Michael Wolfer writes, "My goodness, this was brief. You were talking about Al Parker." Yes. Okay. So a lot of these things, I can't. I focus 8 to 12 minutes, 8 to 15 minutes, depending. Um, and that's a lot of time to put into stuff. I understand who Al Parker is, but it's to tribute them. It's to give them a little bit of, hey, here's this person. I'm not going to do a biopic on the person. However, I do know that there's somebody out there working on possibly an independent film or a biopic on Ala Parker, and he's contacted me, and I'm an asshole. I haven't reached out to him yet, and I will. And it's not because I don't want to; it's because I haven't had the time to. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, that's very nice. Letterbox. I love that. So Chuck Holmes. Oh no, Al Parker. Jill Marsh writes, "I'm a woman, heterosexual, and he is a fine-looking man." Goodness, that's awesome. Jason Furiel writes, "I want to heed your call to support original works. However, where can I get them? Is it possible for you to list movie titles mentioned in these videos and the source of these movies? Thanks in advance." Um, I can't list the movies because they lead to porn websites, and YouTube will immediately flag it or demonetize it because I'm now, um, what's that word? I'm at a loss for words. I'm now soliciting, I think they call it. And I can't list it, but if you're looking for a lot of the films that are featured here, honestly, the best places to go are Bijou World. Bijou is Bijou world.com. They have done a great job at archiving a lot of the, the movies that I talk about. And then they also go through VOD sites like AEBN and Gay Hot Movies and stuff. So watch them there. I know that they might be available online, but these guys are doing a really, really hard job um, to preserve these. And it's like 9, $10. It's not really all that much money, and you'll get a better quality of the film. Oh, is there a question? Okay, let's see. M. Tamery, can you tease some of the people you're going to talk to on the podcast? Sure. So I have one with Ray Dalton, who invited me out to Fornication in Tennessee, and I had never been there before. So I said, okay, let's do it. Ray Dalton's on. There's somebody named David S.F. I'm not sure if you're familiar with. He just wrote a book called The Four Rooms. And I had worked with him before, and I read his book. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. So I interviewed him. Um, I'm talking to Chichi LaRue because why not? And it's the 80s, so I feel like she's got or he's got a great story to tell. Um, I've been in contact with Josh Elliott, who is a director from the 80s. These are going to be probably more interviews slash history sections. When it comes to models, um, Masculine Jason, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he has a podcast as well. The other podcast that does gay porn stars and porn stars in general. And yeah, there's a list of people. Those are the ones that were confirmed or have already been recorded. The other ones, I'm still, still playing phone tag with or message tag with, and yeah, they'll be good. I promise. Let's see. Gamer app. What inspires you to do the soundscapes? I enjoy them. Thank you. Okay, so the way I work is based around music, and a lot of times when I'm not doing porn films, um, I'm working on shorts or I'm working on documentaries. Almost immediately, I start putting together a compilation of like songs, It's almost like a mood board. So when I was doing these, I was like, that would be really cool. And I know that when I first started doing them, like 2021, 2022, I would listen to some of these soundscapes, and the way they described them and the way they put them together was really, really cool and really moody. And I figured, I can probably do these with porn films, especially because a lot of the music in the 70s was either stolen first and foremost because they didn't have. I don't think they thought, like, I'm trying to think of one of the biggest songs that I heard, but there's like Earth, Wind, Fire. There's a whole bunch of bands and stuff that would never sue a porn film for using their film. But back then, I don't think people really thought about that. People were sampling stuff up well into the 90s and stuff without giving credit. So, um, yeah, the ones that I could use, the songs and stuff, I would blend them with songs that I thought would work well with the soundtrack to the historical document that was being created. And then I would just put those up online just because I thought somebody might find this interesting. And I'm glad that you do. And I have a couple of them that I want to go back and do. Um, the way those started too, though, was I have a tendency of creating I think every season almost started like that. I create, if there's 3 or 4 things that I create, or if there's 3 things I create, 2 of them stick, and the third one's kinda like, "Okay, I gotta get back to that." But the 2 main ones are the ones that stick, and I'm okay with that. You know what? It's almost like a psychological thing that I do to myself, and, yeah, but as much as I can, I really do like the soundscapes as well. You are great. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Um, alright, so I'm gonna read a couple more of these while I wait for other questions, and guys, you got me. There's another question? Where? Did I miss one? Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Hold on a second. What am I stuck here? I am not. Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. This isn't my iPad anymore. It's a laptop. I'm like pushing the. Um, I'm not seeing your question. Weird. Well, I don't know if I'm not seeing your question. By the way, I have Erection, who is also a porn director, and he is helping me out behind the scenes because um, it does take a village. I don't have a village yet, but I do have a friend who I've worked with in the past. He's great. He works for Champ Robinson's website, and he's in Jersey. So I have invited him here to help me out, and he's going to be helping me out behind the scenes for recording the podcast episodes or the history episodes. That is weird, though. I'm not. I If I don't see your question, then I don't. I hope I'm not missing somebody else's. Let me see. Oh, here you are. Okay, so how do you see culture around gay porn evolving in the next few years? Okay. Uh, that's that's a big. Do, can you rein it in a little bit? Like, can you? I'm trying to think of like in what's like acceptance or.
Well, like you've been in the industry for a while, so you've seen how like we've gone from um, condom porn to non-condom porn, and then the boom of OnlyFans and
Mm.
how that changed everything.
I would like to think that they're gonna start trying to do something with AI if they're not already thinking about it. But I feel like everybody's waiting to see if AI is going to be real. Um, but this is the perfect time because I feel like every mid decade, 2000, like for instance for me, 2006 and 2007 were a big change time. 2015, 2016, 2017, same thing. There's always something that happens mid decade. Um, and that was like OnlyFans, just for fans and stuff. So yeah, I can see something happening. Yeah, the only thing I can think of is AI. I know they tried virtual reality for a while, and I know it's out there, but I don't know if the market's ready for it yet. But I'd have to get back to you on a bigger thing. Thank you though for your question. Let's see. Ooh, this light is. There we go. Okay, so let me go ahead and open up questions again and see what's going on here. Oh, these are my favorite too. I sometimes I'll say things in a script, and I get I get a couple of wise guys, but that's all right. You know, it's the golden haired. I wrote golden haired Christie twins in one of the Fluffers episodes, and somebody wrote blonde haired. Maybe I'm colorblind, but their hair looks brown to me. But I did say, oh no, wait, you know what? I changed it to golden hair because I did say blonde haired. But sometimes, I'm writing these and stuff escapes me, and I apologize for that. Um, Peter Donath writes, thank you. As a baby gay in the 70s, I remember seeing most of the films you have highlighted. I appreciate your history lessons and our journeys through film. It has given me a new perspective on our life as an out gay man. Please keep up the great work. Our history is so diverse, and I think it can get lost and must be remembered for the next generation. Thank you very much, Peter. I appreciate it. Let's see. Why is the hype feature not available on your videos? That's a good question. I don't know. What is hype? I'm not familiar with that if anybody knows. Can you cover Chris Gray? I'm not sure who Chris Gray is, Sammy Suzo, but I will find him. And if he's part of a decade and he has information out there, I will absolutely cover him. GCECG writes, epilogue. I hope you're not finished. I'm not. And I think I responded, definitely not finished. It's just, the season 4 had to come to an end. Pa-pa-pa. Bill Eld, great video. Oh, this one's great. And this one I think might be Paul Morris, my boss. I'm not sure, but I read this the other day. So this is a question or actually a comment that was on Song of the Loon. Great, good video, IK. And I think that's why, because he calls me IK. Couple of random points. This is a truly awful movie. And I'm saying that as a gay male who went to the opening night at Nob Hill Theater. The movie has absolutely nothing to do with the book, and the author, a very sweet and serious guy, was destroyed by this. And then point two, the fact that Patricia Warren mentioned the main character went to see the film only highlights the fact that although her heart was in the right place, she knew next to nothing about gay men. The Frontrunner is a nice novel that helped a lot of gay men feel better about themselves. But she was a lesbian like Patricia Higsmith, knew gay and queer men mostly through stereotypes that suited her plot details. And it goes on, but yeah, his point being it's a truly awful movie. Okay, so Rob, is set in the 80s.
Since the next season is set in the
Okay, since the next, oh, I see, up to, so since the next season is set in the 80s, what part of the era's history or culture are you most excited to explore and bring forward? Um, that's it's a good question because I thought that I would run into more um, Latin and Black models and Asian models in the next season, and already from the research that I've done, it's really not been the case, and that's unfortunate. And some of the ones that are Latin, or well, I mean, even the Black models sometimes have very whitewashed names, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the history of where everything was at the time. And yeah, no, I wanted to cover. I was excited about covering that, and I will. There's a couple of models in there, but I really wish that there were more detailed stories about them. One part I can tell you what I'm not excited about covering is how almost every model that I am going to be speaking about has passed away of AIDS. So it's a very very tough decade to talk about, but I'm ready to do it. There's a director who I'm very very interested in covering, Christopher Age. So that's going to be an awesome episode. And then there's some models that I am very interested in covering. However, they might not be interested in that I am covering them. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's see. I love this guy. J J65938. Um, because I just I don't know. So he writes the biggest problem, and there are many with this series. Every time a segment title slide goes to screen, any piece of the program is lost and never regained. All right, I'll try. I'll try to do better. Um, and again, too slow paced, missing the energy levels of the subjects. Okay. Slow, boring, and dragging. The entire series is poorly produced. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, where can we watch gay classic films? I said that before, but I'll say it again if anything. Oh, Paolo, thank you very much. It's very, very nice of you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers. If you have any questions, please, by all means, ask away. Let's see. Ba-ba-ba-bum. The Experiment. I think I would enjoy this film. Did Billy identify as white? Um, that's a question that came up underneath the Experiment video essay. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Gordon Hall, who was the director for that film, wrote it about a Latino character. So Billy, I believe Billy was Latino. What else? Just looking for questions, guys. I'm here. If you need any, if you have any questions, please by all means. Any comments? Okay, so somebody writes underneath Centurions of Rome video essay. Thanks. Do you have a documentary on Catalina production Foxhole 1990? Not yet. That is one that's coming up. But yeah, no, it is in my queue. I love that. This is way when I was way back when I would wear glasses. Somebody writes, "Please take off those stupid glasses." I couldn't watch the episode because of not seeing your eyes. Okay, well, there's a lot of people out there that do wear glasses when doing things, but it's okay. And I did take off the stupid glasses. Bill Cable, thanks for the shot of him walking away. Hmm. Anyway, I'm gonna really quickly jump back into season 5, which for anyone who has just joined season 5, um, as I mentioned before, season 5 is going to be um, based on the 80s. There's going to be 12 history episodes, 12 podcast episodes, and 6 of the open line episodes. If any of you guys out there have, this is where I'll open it up to you. If you have a fetish or a kink or something that you've wanted to talk about but don't have anybody to talk about, it can be anonymous. We can just sit and talk. But yeah, I am looking for people. So far, I've got somebody lined up that another person with a cum fetish, which I love hearing about because um, it's interesting where or like originates from, or where people where something like that would come from a certain person. Gamer app. Are there any models or events that you could not cover in past episodes that you wish you had had? Um, there's a couple of events, and I'm going to cover them under a section I'm going to start called porn lore because there's a lot of things that are hearsay or rumors and you don't know, so I can't present them as fact. For instance, if you saw the Roger episode, Roger is a model who supposedly died in a car accident in 1982. However, there is a man who has Roger's name, and he died in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head. And um, there's a lot of stories, not even stories, but there's stuff that points to the fact that this might be the person that was Roger in the 80s, and maybe he did not in fact die in 1982, but it wasn't the story. It wasn't the like there's obits and stuff like that, but apparently a lot of models did that in the 70s and 80s in order to stay away from or get away completely from the fact that they did porn at one point. So that's stuff that I'm going to feature on this thing called porn lore. There's stuff that I didn't even mention in videos because I didn't want to bring it up because of the fact that it might not be vetted or something. So, Rob, how do you approach portraying fetish in a way that is respectful and not exploitative? In conversation or actual yeah, in conversation with people during live chats or on film? I I approach fetishes in a way that's respectful and not exploitative by understanding that I am invited to a specific location and I'm capturing something that I'm not familiar with, but um, watching it like let's say if somebody's never seen it before, I'm going to show it the way I would see it because I'm watching it as a somebody that's never seen it before either. So I walk into the situation knowing that I am a guest in this world that I'm not familiar with, and I'm going to document it as best as I can, or in a way that's interesting to me. That's how I would approach it. So 12 people on. Come on. Come on, 12 people. Let's give me a couple more questions. I'm gonna be on for another 12 minutes. Then I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna come back at 5. But please by all means, 10 people. I must have said something. Oh, 11 people. Okay. Again, this is very last minute. I know I should have promoted it better. However, I will do another one. I am testing out new equipment and I'm testing out a new format with Riverside um, and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, here we are. In the meantime, I don't have a question, but I love your channel. Thank you very much. Berkey Big, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for being here. But if you do have questions, yeah, by all means. Ortal A. Who have you met who most surprised you when you interviewed them? God, there's a lot of people. Um, well, a lot of times the people that I have on the show, I've already known, and I've had conversations with them outside. That was the reason why I would invite them on the show. I think Apollo Fates has to be one of the better interviews that I've done. Sean Duran is great too. It's these guys have such stories to tell, and I'm so glad that a lot of them, a lot of the stories aren't these, I'm a victim of this or I'm a victim of that. Woe is me, and now I do this. Like they're like, hey, I got into this. I knew exactly what I was doing. Um, and yeah, I would have to say like Apollo Fates and stuff. He's a young guy who's wrapped his head around um, every aspect of what's happened to him, and I think that's very commendable. And worked his way out of situations that are traumatic that I wouldn't think are easy for a lot of people past his age, any age, to get out of, and that's very very cool. Gamerab, do you think you will be able to cover models and events from other countries? Absolutely. So, um, the '80s, I'm going to be covering Jean-Paul Cardineau, um, who made French art, if I'm not mistaken. '90s, obviously, Bellamy and Verse Film, and that's going to bring a couple more international artists and stuff. Um, but yeah, I am planning on doing that, and I would love to go to Berlin again to interview Verse Film. I find that story fascinating. Like they were making porn while Germany was rebuilding everything after the fall of the Berlin Wall. I think that's incredibly fascinating. Have I ever suffered from discrimination for being gay and out? Very early on, maybe in my teens, because I did come out when I was like 15 in school. And kids are kids, so that definitely happened. Discrimination, more so bullying and people saying stupid things that nowadays would get close the school down for a day. Those kind of threats. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Discrimination. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing a couple of events, but I've gotten to the point where I'm callous to it. Um, and also, I kind of think that um, from what I gather, a lot of people always tell me that they didn't know I was gay. So I guess I don't know how to take that. It's a thank you, like um okay, Ortal A. Has there been anyone you were unable to find who you feel it would be important to cover? Yes. I'm trying to think of who from the 70s. I ended up there was a couple of people that I did want to speak to that were still with us and are still with us, and they were not available by the time I made the film or by the time I made the bio piece. And then eventually, like they saw and they were like, "Oh, thank you very much for covering this." And then they would like correct one or two things that I may have not gotten right, and very very minimal stuff. But of course, something that it's not that it's not minimal, but it's they just want to say, "Hey, by the way, this is what actually happened." Okay, cool. Um, I guess I would have to say the one that I really wanted to, because I said in another Q&A, I reached out to Peter Berlin. I didn't get in contact with him, and I did his story, but I reached out to him because I wanted to make sure I wanted to like Peter Berlin a lot. I think he's fascinating, but I don't necessarily think there was anything different that he was doing other than the fact that he was taking his own pictures and stuff. But I needed the dimension of Peter Berlin, and I never got to speak to him. So I walked away with not feeling like that was the strongest video that I'd done. Oh, and then you had a second part to that. Have you been able to find associates or lovers of classic models and filmmakers who gave you good insights? They have commented on the page, and I think that's amazing. And sometimes I will leave them out of the story because they may still be alive, and the story is not that it's not about them, but I don't I don't want to drag anybody in if they kind of just want to stay away from that. So if that ever happens, that's because I I'm trying to do it respectfully. Cadino was brilliant. Cadino was brilliant. How about a video on Piero Pasolini? I would love to. I actually have a script that's based on Sado, and not that it's based on it, but it's derivative of it, I guess. Uh, it's along the same lines, but basically what he was doing there in that movie was great. Pasolini, he's not to say that he's a mainstream filmmaker, but he definitely he got maybe maybe in the future at some point. I'd like to focus on some of these guys first, and then eventually go into like avant-garde filmmakers, and then some independent filmmakers, because I know that there's a lot of them from the 50s and 60s that were very homoerotic that absolutely helped get to where we are. Um, or Tal A. There are several times I met Hollywood stars and found them to be quite different than their persona. Have you experienced this with your interviews and researched bios? Yes. Um, I'd have to. I'm drawing a blank here, but I would have to look. There's definitely been some people. I'll tell you this: there are models that reach out to me and want to be interviewed, and I couldn't be any more. I couldn't be any less interested. And the reason why is because if I feel like if you're reaching out to be interviewed, unless like I've wanted to, I don't know. I feel like I always reach out to the model and try to either persuade them or I do a lot of the reaching out. When they reach out to me, I have to wonder whether they just want to talk or they actually want to do an interview. Because I had one particular interview where I feel like all the questions that I asked, the answers were already lined up, and I didn't find it. Like looking back at it while I was editing it, I was like, this isn't, it's not real. So yeah, I've had that happen for sure. And research bios, yeah, no, absolutely. There's Casey Donovan, Al Parker, all these people who had so many, like they've actually had books written about them, and incredible detail about their lives. That's always a lot of. It's fun to see, to understand that all of these people have lives. All of these people outside of what they do, they have pets, they have parents, they have sometimes kids. It's fascinating. One of the most interesting ones I think was Bill Cable. I did a Fluffers episode on him, who was in so many movies that I had grown up with in the 80s, and uh, most popularly known for the opening scene in Basic Instinct. Like I think that's so cool. Like here's this guy, and a lot of the guys um, who are in film and TV shows. Here are these guys who are like right in front of your face at all times, and you don't even know until like later on until you start looking for it. Was there anyone who was exactly what you expected, positive or negative? Yeah, for sure. I don't want to be that guy, but no, there's a daddy out there who's, started out being a nice guy. And he's still probably a nice guy. It's just, so that a lot of attention will get you into trouble if you don't know how to handle it. And sometimes I feel like a lot of the people that get this immense amount of attention, um, and this is a bit of a judgment. I'm not, but this is my opinion. It's more than it's a judgment. It's my opinion after meeting them. A lot of these people who get an immense amount of attention have to one day understand that the attention will go away, and if they don't, I would never want to be in that predicament because we all know what it's like to get a little bit of attention here and there or for all your hard work and stuff, but this is different. Being in front of the camera and taking your clothes off and having sex in front of the camera is different. You get a great amount of attention for stuff that you do or body parts that you have, but we all get old. We all have to move on at some point, and if you're not ready to move on, like viewers are, then Again, I don't want to be in a predicament like that. All right, so it is 4 o'clock. I'm going to take a break, guys. I'm going to come back at 5. I'm doing my last one at 5. I want to thank you guys so much. Names are for TMZ. You're right. You're special for presenting a respectful portrayal. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Ortale. Um, but yeah, for you guys watching, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to come back on at 5 Eastern Standard Time, and let's have another conversation. Paolo, thank you so much again. I appreciate it. And Berkey Big also. Yeah, so if you guys are around at 5 and you have any questions and you want to think about them, by all means. I'll be switching my coffee to maybe a wine or a martini. So if you have anything that you want to do and you want to join, please, by all means. Thank you guys so much. All right.